Hi hobby friends, let's talk about white. Crisp, clean, and completely inappropriate for the battlefield, white is objectively the shade with the most pop on the table, since it reflects almost all of the light you throw at it. But pop isn't everything. What about definition? And how about getting some complexity in there? Maybe some underpainting can help us out. I've looked at painting white before in the Tau video, and I'm going to do my go-to blue here too for posterity, but we'll switch things up a little later on as well. Number 1 base coat done and done. Next up, let's whiz around to the other end of the temperature spectrum and coat this guy in a warm brown. Because my go-to is Molotow Petrol blue, I haven't explored warm white as much as I should have, so it'll be interesting to see how this guy turns out. Time for perhaps a weird one now, green. If you haven't seen any of these videos before, the whole idea here is to experiment and see what different combinations yield, so definitely go and check out those earlier videos to see what all this underpainting malarkey is about. Green is done, and now let's do a sort of control subject here. I think most people will automatically reach for a neutral grey for shading white because it's the colour that feels most intuitively like dark white, but to be honest, I'm expecting this guy to be the most boring. This primer that's going on is not our last stop either. After that stride, I also go all over with a dark grey. So that's grey plastic to grey plastic. And of course, despite the likely futility of this, I can't forego the inevitable shiny, so this last chap gets a black base coat and a nice overcoat of gunmetal silver. While we're doing overcoats, let's give our blue guy a pastel blue highlight, our brown guy an orange spray, and the green dude a spritz of turquoise. Compared to previous experiments, these highlight colours are going to have much less of an impact since we'll be getting those white's opacities up really high, but they will give us a leg up to those higher values and should still flavour the final results a little bit. Speaking of white, here it is. We need to get it nicely thinned with Flow Improver here so that we get full control and keep the dreaded speckles at bay. One challenge of painting white is the paint itself. The pigments in white tend to be chunkier and chalkier, making it much harder to glaze or get on in nice, smooth coats. Now, with inks and an airbrush, those particular challenges are greatly reduced, but we still need to adjust the medium a little bit to get the best results. Right, all that's done and it's time to do all the usual fiddly bits, the edge highlighting, the pin lining, and the eyes, all of that. While I do that, let me also take the opportunity to say a massive thank you to some new friends that are helping support the channel and experiments like these. Weemir, The Dork Knight, Ross and Pablo, a huge thank you for your support. There are still places left in that extra special deal OG crew tier, so check that out if you're interested, or just join up on the free Discord and come say hello to me and all these lovely people. Okay, let's take a look at these guys. First up, my go-to blue. Ignore for a moment that this guy looks like a dorky moon landing cosplayer in his silly helmet and oversized wristwatch, and I think this is still my favourite way to do white. It's clean, it's defined, and really, really simple to do. Nice. Warm white next, with the brown chap. I'm really pleased with how strong the contrast with the last one is here. We are still definitely white, but the look is completely different. Besides metallics, white is the colour that is most affected by its environment, so this guy will look really great on things like Martian bases, I'd say. Mr. Green now, and again, I'm really loving how different this is without straying from the realm of white. I've had a lot of non-mini painting related life going on recently, so I went with the easy options on basing here, but imagine this guy on something a bit more swampy or jungly. He's a marine scheme looking for an adventurous painter to take him home. Grey guy now, and hey, it's fine. It's a super clean look that for some reason gives me really strong Stormtrooper vibes. If you want a simple white scheme, there is nothing wrong with this. It does its job and it looks good doing it. And last but not least, the shiny. Two things to note here. One, my camera really struggled with this one. I think the dynamic range was just too much, reducing the face to a smudgy blob and the background to a noisy mess, so apologies for that. And two, I'm not convinced there's a good reason to use the metallic paint in the way I did here. Now, if you did an all overcoat in silver so that the shadows were metallic instead of black, that might be interesting, but as he is, the metallics are not really adding anything. Interesting to see the extreme stylized jump from truly black shadows to pure white highlights though, and proof that you really can use any colour you like to underpaint white. The world of colour is your oyster. Right, that's your lot for this week. Who was your favourite? What combos would you like to try yourself? Let me know in the down below and I'll see you next time.